Welcome to our channel. Let's begin the journey.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a fascinating leap in energy technology that honestly blew my mind: Generation 4 material science. Specifically, we're going to explore TRISO fuel and the Pebble bed modular reactor to see how modern engineering has actually figured out a way to make reactor meltdowns physically impossible. I want you to start by rethinking the entire concept of nuclear safety. Historically, we've relied on these complex, active systems to keep reactors safe, right? But what if? What if a nuclear meltdown wasn't prevented by machines, warning alarms, or human operators? What if it was simply forbidden by the very laws of physics? Okay, let's dive into this. Look at how things have traditionally been done. In a standard loop design reactor, you've got this complex web of primary and secondary coolant pumps, heat exchangers, active control rods, the whole shebang. It relies heavily on active cooling, meaning electricity must constantly power those pumps to circulate coolant, like sodium or water, just to keep the core from overheating. It requires constant human and mechanical intervention. If those pumps fail, well, you've got a major problem on your hands. But Generation 4 reactor designs totally flip this paradigm on its head. Instead of building massive macro-scale cooling systems to contain an overheating core, engineers shifted their focus to the microscopic world. The solution to catastrophic failure is actually a tiny, highly engineered structure called the TRISO particle. Think of it like a microscopic, high-tech jawbreaker that's explicitly designed to trap radiation right at the source. Let's break down this jawbreaker, layer by layer. Right at the dead center, we have the fuel kernel. It's made of uranium dioxide, and for these advanced reactors, it utilizes an enrichment level of about 7 to 15%. This little speck is the heart of the particle. It's where the nuclear fission actually takes place. Surrounding that uranium core, we add the first protective shell, a porous carbon buffer layer. You see, as fission happens in the kernel, it releases fission gases and causes the kernel to physically swell up. So, this porous carbon acts kind of like a microscopic sponge, or a crumple zone in a car, really. It absorbs those gases and accommodates the expansion without cracking the outer shells. Let's move on and see how this builds. We wrap that buffer in a layer of inner pyrolytic carbon, or IPyC. This gives us a hard sealing layer, firmly encasing both the porous carbon and the fuel kernel inside. It sets the perfect foundation for the absolute most critical barrier of all. And here it is, the real game changer, the silicon carbide, or SiC, barrier. Silicon carbide is this incredibly tough, heat-resistant ceramic acting as a microscopic pressure vessel. Get this, it resists cracking well beyond 1600 degrees Celsius. To put that into perspective, that is way hotter than the reactor could ever possibly get, even in an absolute worst-case scenario. This layer essentially guarantees that the radioactive fission products cannot escape. Finally, to protect that silicon carbide and give it a smooth, sturdy exterior, a final layer of outer pyrolytic carbon is added, and that's it. That completes the TRISO structure, creating a virtually indestructible 4-layer containment system wrapped around a single speck of uranium. When you look at the complete cross-section of this particle, you can see how these combined layers safely contain all that thermal stress and fission product buildup entirely within the particle itself. And what's truly astonishing here is the scale. This entire indestructible sphere, it has an outer diameter of just 0.5 to 1.0 millimeters. It is literally about the size of a grain of sand. So how exactly do we get from a grain of sand to a working nuclear reactor? Well, we scale up. Exactly 11,000 of these microscopic TRISO particles are grouped together for the next step of the manufacturing process. Those 11,000 particles are then embedded evenly inside a graphite matrix, forming a single sphere with a diameter of about 60 millimeters. So think roughly the size of a tennis ball or a billiard ball. In the nuclear engineering world, this graphite fuel sphere is just simply known as a pebble. That 5-millimeter outer shell of the pebble is pure graphite, providing yet another layer of protection, and actually acting as a moderator for the nuclear reaction. Now, imagine a massive cylindrical vessel and fill it to the brim with these spheres. A single pebble bed modular reactor, or PBMR, contains around 360,000 of these fuel pebbles piled together to form the reactor core. Then, helium gas is flowed right through the spaces between the pebbles to extract the heat and generate our electricity. And this brilliantly illustrates the operational advantages of the pebble bed design, especially when you compare it to older prismatic, block-style cores. Because you can continuously add fresh pebbles to the top and pull spent ones out from the bottom, you keep excess reactivity to an absolute minimum. That means lower peak fuel temperatures, vastly more effective fuel utilization, and lower overall enrichment requirements. It's a continuously operating, highly efficient machine. Section 1. The thermodynamics of safety, making meltdowns impossible. To really grasp this passive safety, we first need to look at regulatory baselines, specifically the shutdown margin. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, imposes a strict minimum shutdown margin. This dictates that operators must have the ability to shut down the reactor no matter what condition it's in, even in the cold critical state, which holds the most excess reactivity. Normally, this means keeping a 1 to 5% margin of excess reactivity that can be controlled by inserting control rods. Now, what's really interesting about this is a physical phenomenon known as the temperature defect. In a pebble-dead reactor, as the core is heated, there is a natural, purely physical drop in the reactor's excess reactivity. The uranium and the graphite actually moderate the neutrons differently as they heat up, so it acts as an automatic thermodynamic brake pedal. The hotter the core gets, the less reactive the fuel becomes. It's just physics doing the work for us. Let's walk through exactly how this plays out in a worst-case, total loss of power scenario. Step 1. The coolant pumps completely fail and the reactor core temperature begins to climb. Step 2. As that temperature rises, the excess reactivity naturally drops because of that temperature defect we just talked about. Step 3. Because the reactivity drops, the nuclear chain reaction naturally stalls out. It literally chokes itself off. This is a purely passive, 3-step thermodynamic feedback loop. You don't need computers, you don't need backup generators, and you definitely don't need a human operator to panic and push a scram button. So the crucial point here is the massive contrast between active safety and passive physics. Traditional active safety relies on humans, mechanical pumps, and active control rods perfectly dropping into place. It's extremely prone to human error and mechanical failure. The PBMR, however, relies entirely on passive physics. It relies on that indestructible microscopic silicon carbide barrier of the TRISO particle to trap radiation, and the thermodynamic temperature defect to halt the reaction entirely. Physics doesn't break down, and it sure doesn't need a backup battery. All of this creates an engineering marvel that experts call walkaway safety via extreme thermal inertia. The sheer mass of those 360,000 graphite pebbles absorbs the residual decay heat. The core gets hot, yes, absolutely, but it simply radiates that heat outward. It never ever reaches that 1600-degree threshold that would breach the TRISO particles. If a facility loses all power and literally every single operator leaves the building, the reactor would just quietly cool itself down without releasing any radiation. You can, quite literally, just walk away safely. We've seen how meticulously rearranging layers of carbon around a tiny fleck of uranium can theoretically solve one of the greatest dangers associated with nuclear power. It completely reshapes our relationship with clean energy. Which leaves us with this final thought. If the ultimate key to global clean energy safety relies on a microscopic carbon jawbreaker, what other massive world problems can we solve by starting small? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you, and I'll catch you in the next one.
The view from here is breathtaking. Command, we are in position and ready for the next phase. If you liked the video, subscribe and comment the topic you want next. Thanks for watching, and stay unstoppable.